Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. Here with my guy, the Knicks fan himself, Jacoblocks. How's it going, my man?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be back on the channel. I think this is my second time on Bullony Basketball, so it's always a fun time here.
Yes, sir. I believe you are correct. Fourth time indeed. Yeah, I think it's going to be a great episode. Of course, we got a mini game at the end.
Yep.
Gotta keep that tradition alive. Every time you've been on, there's been a mini game because I think we did like the chain game the first time. Then I had
Mm-hmm.
you in two tournaments, and then now there will be another one today. So we'll start off by doing these NBA Cup predictions with the games that remain because this is kind of like NBA Cup week essentially. Um, so we got 8 teams left in it, one of them being your New York Knicks. And I think we're just going to kind of like pick who we think is going to, win each game and stuff like that. Um, and I guess we can talk a little bit about the winner. We can talk a little bit about your Knicks too. But, for this first round of games, I guess we could do it like together. Like, I know I was going to have you go all the way and then I'll go all the way like through. But the first matchup, like between the 1 seed Bucks and 4 seed Magic, I guess like who would you say is going to win that?
I got to be honest, this is probably the game I'm least excited for, and a big part of that is because the Magic are so injured. Obviously, they've been missing Paolo for majority of the season, and now Franz just went down. So I feel like it's going to be really hard for them to put up enough points to compete with the Bucks. Because when you're going up against Giannis and Dame, like they're going to be scoring buckets, and obviously, like I don't know how much I trust Jalen Suggs to really lead this team to victory like that. They do still have their defense they can rely back on, but I feel like it's just going to be really tough to beat this team without your top two players. So I'm definitely going to have to go with the Bucks.
Yeah, I am also gonna go with the Bucks on this one. Although I wouldn't totally count the Magic out. I mean, they did just beat the Suns the other day without Paulo and Franz. So I don't know. I think it's definitely gonna be interesting. I'm sure the Bucks like will get complacent and they'll make it a close game regardless. But I do think the Bucks will win this as well. I think the other East matchup though is a little bit more interesting because you got the 2 seeded Knicks and the 3 seeded Hawks. I mean, we all know like the story between Trey Young against the New York and stuff like that. I'm sure there's gonna be people like saying "F Trey Young" in streets again. Uh, who do you think is gonna win that?
This is definitely one of the ones I'm most interested in, partially because I am a Knicks fan. I think it's going to be a fun one because Trey Young likes to play that villain role, especially in Madison Square Garden. Like he likes that the crowd is going to be coming after him and everything. And the Hawks have been a sneaky competitive team. Like they've beaten a lot of good teams already. I know they beat the Cavs and the Celtics to win out their group here and to make it to the elimination round. So I think this is going to be a very competitive game. They play fast, they play hard, but so do the Knicks, and I can't go against my squad. I definitely think that they have the firepower to keep up with the Hawks, and if they are locked in and are ready to play defense, they'll be able to definitely pull this one away. It just depends on if they are going to play defense, because it seems like every other game they pick and choose when they want.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be crazy too because I know I would say probably like the narrative between like when these two teams play is that like I feel like the NBA media like says like oh Trey Young like he owns them because of that playoff series. But I feel like honestly if they win this, I feel like Knicks fans will probably be even louder about like he doesn't own us anymore. You know what I mean? So um, I do think the Knicks will probably win this. Like you said, the Hawks have been pretty good. I feel like they've actually been a lot better this year, and really, I'd probably say they look like a playoff team right now. But yeah, I just don't know if they're better than the Knicks necessarily. I feel like Brunson's gonna kind of go crazy, and I feel like he's probably back when that series happened. Obviously, you guys didn't have him, so I think he's gonna know like the significance of this game. He's gonna put up a big performance, get you guys to Vegas. So
Yeah, I definitely think I don't know. I feel like if I wasn't a Knicks fan, I would maybe be leaning a little bit towards the Hawks to pull off this upset. I do think that it's 100% possible. Like they have the guys to match up against like Jalen Brunson. Like Dyson Daniels is a perfect guy to throw at him. They have other lengthy guys like Zachary Richichet and Jalen Johnson. So like they have a bunch of guys that I think match up well against the Knicks. And earlier when we played them, they did beat us. But like I said, I got to roll with my guys. I think the Knicks definitely pull this one out.
Yeah, I think there's definitely upset potential there. But yeah. So I guess right now so far we both got the Bucks, we both got the Knicks. Between the 1 seed Thunder and 4 seed Mavericks on the other side, who do you think you're gonna take?
This is the one I'm most excited for. I wish this could have been like the second round matchup out west because I don't know, just a little bit more intense. Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm going to lean a little bit towards OKC just because their defense has been unmatched. Like they really just come into any arena and shut down the other team. And then also they still have their firepower and their star power of a guy like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Jalen Williams is having a great season. And I like a lot of what I'm seeing from Isaiah Hartenstein. I think they're like 7-1 when he's in the lineup. So he makes them even harder to beat. I think Dallas got a lot better this offseason, and they are a very solid team. Like you said, they're the 4 seed. So I think it's going to be really competitive, but I got to lean towards OKC.
Yeah, I mean, in this NBA Cup, the Thunder are also the 1 seed. I feel like, much like the Bucks, who I think in the East are the only team that's back in the Final Four for that grouping as last season. I think every other team is new. Or no, you guys actually I think were
The
right.
Knicks, yeah, we lost to the
Yeah,
Bucks last year.
you guys, but you guys were in the final 8 as well, and then like the Bucks got to the final 4. I feel like the Thunder, like they've been playing really well in the NBA Cup, and the first chance they get like at a playoff esque matchup is going to be against the team that just eliminated them last year. So I feel like they're probably going to come in with like that extra like motivation, to come in and get the job done. I feel like Jalen Williams will probably, he's been having a pretty underrated year. Someone actually showed, like, I know he's kind of compared in a lot of ways to a Jalen Brown, but like, honestly, like, could argue he's even been playing better than that, and that's the Finals MVP right there. I think that they just have more size as well this year. That it's like guys like Gafford and Lively are not going to totally abuse them like they did last season. So I don't know. I think that they'll be able to get the job done. It's going to be close regardless because I know the Mavs have been playing well. But I'm going to go with the OKC Thunder as well.
Yeah, the Mavs definitely are starting to find their footing. I know they went on that pretty big win streak when Luka was out, and then now that Luka's back in the lineup, he's back to playing like his MVP level. Kyrie is having a great season. I really like a lot of what I'm seeing from Dallas, and that's why I said I wish this could have been like the second round, so maybe we could see this in Vegas and just have a little bit higher stage. But this is 100% my favorite first round matchup. I'm really excited for this game.
Yeah, man. And another one that's exciting, well, a little bit different from if you would have said these two teams like 5 years ago when they were, pretty much the top two teams in the West. But now you got the Rockets and the Warriors. The Rockets are a completely different team since, and the Warriors are a little bit different too. But I guess, like, who do you think is going to win this matchup?
This one is probably the biggest toss up, in my opinion, just because I feel like these teams are kind of very similar, where they both rely on their defense and have like a subpar to average offense. But I don't know. I go back and forth because team wise, I definitely think if you just match up or look at them, the Rockets are the better team.
Mm.
But at the same time, the Warriors have the best player by far, and that's, of course, Steph Curry. And that definitely has some type of value. Especially in a single elimination game. Like we know Steph Curry will clutch up and have these crazy performances when it matters most. With that being said, though, I still want to ride with the Houston Rockets. I think they're a young and hungry team. A lot of their players haven't had any type of playoff experience or anything, so this is going to be their first little taste of that high-intensity basketball. I think that's going to have them motivated, and then I think their defense is going to be able to make some problems for Curry and the Warriors. So I'm gonna go with them.
So you're going with Houston, you said?
Yeah.
Yep, got to rep Shengun back there. No,
Yeah, you know.
yeah, Shengun's my guy too. I feel like, unfortunately, the opposite side will happen. Even though, like, I'm not gonna lie, if I had to pick who I want to win this game, I would pick the Rockets. But I feel like they're gonna be a little bit too excited for the moment, and I feel like the Warriors are gonna come in and they're gonna snatch the W. I think like a lot of these guys, like you said, haven't really been in a playoff esque format. I could very well see a guy like Dylan Brooks, who the last time he faced the Warriors in a big setting, like he gets like a stupid tee or something like that. It kind of demoralizes the team a little bit. So like I don't know. It just seems like to me it's like it has like bad like vibes or like bad voodoo for the Rockets. And I feel like I haven't picked a lower seed yet. I feel like this is probably the highest chance that a lower seed will win. Um, I'll go with the Warriors on this one though.
I can't be mad at you because, like I said, I feel like this one is the biggest toss up. But I don't know. I like the guys that they have defensively. Talk about the Rockets, with Amen Thompson and Tari Eason coming off their bench. You mentioned Dylan Brooks. Like they just have a lot of bodies that they can throw at Steph Curry and make his life really difficult. And I don't know. I could definitely see it going both ways. Like you said, the high intensity. Will they rise to the occasion or will they crumble under the pressure? I'm going to put some faith in them. I think that they will rise up. I think they could probably pull this one.
For sure. Yeah. And so our final four, we all have the same teams except for that matchup. So I guess going back to the East, the 1 seed Bucks and 2 seed Knicks. Now I believe these are the start of the actual Vegas games. So are you gonna roll with your Knicks or are you gonna roll with the higher seed Bucks?
Man, I got to roll with my Knicks. I don't think, have we played the Bucks this year? Yeah, we played them once, I think.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. The Bucks are definitely starting to get back on track, and Giannis has played at an MVP level this entire season. But I don't know. I feel like the Knicks have, again, when you look like team for team, they have more guys surrounding, and you don't have to rely on the Bucks. It's Giannis, it's Dame, and then it's basically like their role players there. They get most of their production from those top two. The Knicks, you have Jalen Brunson, you have Cat, who has looked great. Mikal is slowly starting to get back on track as well. OG has had some really good games. Josh Hart, like I have more faith in the Knicks to produce as a team than what this Bucks team has been doing. I do think it's going to be a very close game as well, and hopefully we see this in like the playoffs because I think in a series setting this would be a really cool matchup. But yeah, I gotta roll with my Knicks, man.
I mean, like it's weird because like a part of it for me, at least when I was watching the Bucks last year, and they beat your Knicks to get to Vegas, and then they lost a game they easily should have won and really had against the Pacers, and it almost felt like to me it's like did they only do this just so they could get to Vegas? You know what I mean? Like, all right, we made the Final Four, like we're in Vegas, and now we're chilling for the next couple days, and I feel like that could happen again. I don't think a guy like Tom Thibodeau is going to care about Vegas or not. I feel like he's just going to have his guys playing hard. Like, he'll literally play OG Anunoby 49. Yes, 49 minutes if he has to. He'll add a minute to the game clock and say, you're playing that one too. No, I'll agree with you. I think the Knicks are going to win. I feel like the Bucks will probably be a little bit content there. Although, like, I think it would be good for them, like, as well to maybe do something like that and maybe like get that upper edge like when the playoffs come around. It's like, all right, we have chemistry, like putting it together for must-win games. But I do think the Knicks will probably outwork them, which I mean they generally do against a lot of teams anyways. But I think they're gonna outwork them, and I feel like the Bucks are just like not going to have that same like level of effort like right away. So I'm gonna go with the Knicks too.
The one thing I am worried about is Giannis. Like I said, he's playing MVP level basketball, and he's been a madman getting to the rim. I am very worried about our rim protection because that's probably the weakest part of our defense and our team as a whole, honestly, right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cat, he just isn't a great rim protector. It is what it is. We have Precious coming back, and he has been solid in his 2 games that he's been on the court. But again, I don't know if he could even stop Giannis. So I could see Giannis just popping off and having a crazy performance to pull this out. But like I said, I can rely a little bit more on the Knicks as a whole, and hopefully they do pull it out because it would be nice to see them in the finals.
For sure. Yeah, that would be pretty exciting. And then we also got the other side of it. You got the Thunder and Rockets, so I'll let you make that pick there, and then I'll be picking for the Thunder and Warriors. But between Thunder and Rockets, who do you think is going to advance to play the Knicks?
On this one, I would definitely take OKC. For what it's worth, I know you'll get to your pick soon, but regardless of who wins that bottom bracket, I would pick OKC over them. But in my bracket, I have them going against the Rockets. I feel like OKC is almost like the leveled up version of the Rockets, where they're just both super scrappy defensive teams, super young. But the one thing that OKC has that definitely puts them over the Rockets is they have a much better offense and guys that can get you buckets down stretches. When you have like Shea and you compare him to like Jalen Green, there's obviously a huge difference there. So I feel like just that alone definitely has me picking OKC over the Rockets.
Yeah, I was hoping maybe we get the finals of your wall back there, but it is okay. It is okay. I this might be shocking, but I'm gonna probably go with the Warriors again. I know, like, and I'm not trying to like be way too supportive of the Warriors here, but like just I know they've played them twice. OKC this year, one time they beat them, another time they lost to them, and really nearly beat them, and that was without a lot of their guys too playing. Like I don't know, I just feel like the Thunder generally, for some reason, whatever way it is, like they manage to struggle like against the Warriors. You know what I mean? I think that the Thunder definitely have the better team. I think if this was a playoff series, they would definitely get the better edge. But with one game, I feel like in a one game scenario, and we saw it last year a little bit, like with the Lakers, where it's like, you know, only having to beat a team once, like that's a little bit different and a little bit less like mentally draining. It's like beating a team four times in 7 games over 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So I feel like the Warriors will probably sneak out another win. It'll be very close, and I feel like they'll be in the finals against your Knicks.
Yeah, I feel like in this one elimination game, like you said, it's way easier to have like an upset because like yeah, you could just have Buddy Hield pop off for 5 threes, and then it's like oh well that's it, you're eliminated just like that. So I could see it happening. I don't know though. I think OKC is just a powerhouse.
I mean, OKC is definitely. I would even say the Warriors are probably honestly like if we're basing it off of like how well the teams are, maybe the worst team here, like in this West group. But I just feel like that incentive of like one game only. I feel like they're gonna be like the least drawn back about like, oh my gosh, we're in Vegas. Like everything just feels different. You know what I mean? Like I feel like they're not going to be phased by that because they've seen just about everything. Like guys like Curry, Draymond, Kerr, Looney, Wiggins. Like a lot of these guys have already won a championship. They've been up there a lot. So I don't know. But between your finals of the Knicks and Thunder, who's taking it home? I think I have an idea.
See, you say that, but if I'm taking my bias out of it, I probably would pick OKC, just because I feel like they are a young, hungry team. They're the one seed, top of the West. They play with this swagger and this, intensity every game. It seems like, so I would have them, pulling this out against the Knicks. I feel like it would be a super fun game, and if this is the finals matchup at the end of the year, I am ecstatic. So I probably would go OKC, but just to put the juju out there, I'm gonna stick with my Knicks. Jalen Brunson goes off for 60 and we win. That's my final prediction.
I like that. Yeah, there would be two orange teams in the finals. I wonder. I don't know if that's ever happened or anything like that. But yeah. So you're rolling with the Knicks. You got your Knicks winning it all. You think Brunson's gonna be like? I think it's like an MVP of the. Just is it of the just the cup games or is it like of the finals? I don't remember how they gave it out last year.
I don't fully remember, but I do know LeBron won it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just because, he had his great performance in like the elimination games, the finals games, just all the cup games in general. I don't know how they give it out either. But I mean, Jalen Brunson has been good in all these cup games. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm sure Cat, if we win it, he would definitely be up there. But it would be cool to have Brunson win that one.
For sure. And so this puts me in a weird situation because I have the Knicks and the Warriors. Believe it or not, before the cup even started, um, these were two of the top three teams I had winning the cup. I actually, believe it or not, I had Cleveland winning the cup before they even started their big run, like of going like 15-0 and stuff. I just had a feeling like they would, and then obviously they're not in it. and then I had the Warriors as my runner-up, and then I had the Knicks being like the next team knocking on the door. So this is kind of tough. I feel like, you know, definitely the Knicks are going to play scrappy. The Warriors are going to play scrappy. Draymond Green and Josh Hart going head to head. I'm sure people probably want to see what happens there. Um, you know, and it's very much, I say, I don't mean this either, but like when it gets to like further down the line, I feel like these players that have experience will definitely have more of an edge. And so I think that helps the Warriors to a degree, but the Knicks are the better team. So it's really difficult. I think it could go either way. I honestly feel like the Knicks could win, just like you're saying about OKC. But I guess I'll pick the Warriors because you picked the Knicks. I don't know. I don't. I
Can't
don't
have
know.
the
I don't
same.
know what it is, but I have a feeling the Warriors are gonna win. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not a Warriors fan. If they lose to the Rockets, I'll be ecstatic. You know what I mean? That would be awesome. But it's just I have a feeling. Especially because like last year, it's like the Lakers win, and like I'm sure like LeBron and Steph have had a lot of conversations, LeBron and Draymond, about that cup, and now they have a chance to do the same thing too. I feel like they'll probably find a way, and like, well, now we got one of our own. So
Well, you mentioned before about like having experience in these type of situations,
hmm
and the Warriors are probably the most experienced team out of this whole final 8 teams.
hmm
Maybe the Bucks you could throw in there too because they won a championship pretty recently. But if that definitely plays a part, the Warriors would be well equipped to handle these high intense moments.
I mean,
So
and
I could see it happen.
every game too is kind of like a game seven. You know what I mean? I think a
Yeah.
good example of at least the recent time we saw them in a game seven, like against the Kings. I think a lot of people thought the Kings were gonna win that series when they got that upper edge, but game seven wasn't even close. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. So I don't
Night
know.
night.
I mean, I feel like they have a great um, advantage when it comes to those situations compared to the rest of these teams. So, but yeah, we could move on to the next little topic. Talk about two teams in particular that we have, and then I have it listed as like a justified jump versus the false flop like segment. So the justified jump is going to be a team that's been playing pretty well that we think is going to stay there, and then the false flop is whoever's been playing bad that we think that's fake news. They're going to turn it around at least to some degree. So I mean, and you can list both of yours, and then I'll list both of mine. So for your justified jump and your false flop, what teams do you think this is so far?
The justified jump. I almost wanted to put the Bucks here because they started off so bad, and now they're climbing the standings. But I felt like that was a little bit of a cop out answer because they were considered a great team coming into this season. So my real answer is going to be the Atlanta Hawks. I was pretty low on them coming into the year. I thought they were going to be like just barely a play-in team after trading Dejounte. Like I like the pickup of Dyson Daniels, but I didn't think when you just look at the trade, they definitely downgraded in talent. So I thought that would show in the standings and everything. But they have really surprised me, played incredibly well. I know they just lost to the Nuggets, but before that, they were on like a 6-game win streak. I definitely have confidence in them to, at bare minimum, be a play-in team and maybe even beyond that and sneak into that 6 seed if possible. But then my flop or the false flop, that's what you called it, right?
Yeah,
My false
false
flop
flop.
team. I'm gonna go with the Phoenix Suns because in reality, I feel like all they need is Kevin Durant to be healthy. When you're such a top heavy team, they have the big three. They invested almost all of their assets into that, and one of them is down. Arguably, the best out of the big three is down. Like that just puts a lot of strain on the other players, strain on Devin Booker, on these role players like Royce O'Neal or Grayson Allen to step up. I just feel like once KD is back and fully healthy, they'll be way better.
Yeah, I'll actually start with my false flop because I had the same as you there. I also had the Phoenix Suns. Um, like you said, I mean, if Durant's healthy, this team is going to be up there. And I mean, honestly, if you ask me, I know he's missed like a lot of games already, but like this guy like still deserves to be like an MVP conversation type of guy. Like let's just not, like, it seems stupid to even say, like, but it's like let's not forget about Kevin Durant. You know, like how people like kind of want to push him down. Like he's just been insane. Like when he's been out there, and the Suns have been winning at an insane rate when he is out there too. It's I don't know why. It's just like really weird. Even like when Booker and Beal play, even with like the addition of like Tyus Jones and Monte Morris, and getting like some big depth with like Mason Plumlee. I'm high on Iguodala, who they got too. So like, I mean, they got like pieces, but like they just haven't been able to win without Kevin Durant. He's been the constant. When he's in, they're great. When he's not in, they are borderline awful. I mean, like they are like 1-9 right now, and they even lost again the other day against Orlando. They should not have lost. So, that's my team for that. My justified jump. I guess not necessarily a huge jump from like last season, but like at least over the last like 3 weeks they've been jumping up. I would say the Dallas Mavericks. I had a feeling like I think before the year in the West, I thought there were going to be 5 teams that were going to be up there in that group, and it was going to be the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, and the Grizzlies. But I didn't really think. I felt like the Mavericks were going to be kind of like near the bottom end of that. Like they're a contender, but they're okay. They're actually playing really well, and like a lot of guys like are playing probably better than they ever have, or better than they would have even been expected to this season. Like, I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie had a terrible game, I think, against the Heat. Ever since then, he's been playing out of his mind. Najee Marshall has been playing the best basketball of his career. Jaden Hardy, like, you got the 2 bigs that they've been stepping it up. Kyrie has been playing unreal too, like, because they've been doing a lot of this without Luka. I know he just came back recently, but like they were doing a lot of their winning without him. This is all while like their big addition this summer, Clay, like he hasn't played like Clay. So I mean, like, I feel like all those things considered, if Clay starts to find a shot, you get Luka back. I mean, that's just going to make things easier for everybody. So I think they're going to be a legit team up there once again. I think people thought last year when they made the finals, like, they're like, yeah, I mean, it was cool, but like, probably not going to go back there. Like, right now, I'm not going to say they're the favorite because I would say that's still the Thunder in the West, but like, I think that they still have like a legit chance.
For sure. I know, like coming into the season, there was some people having talks about like, did the Mavericks get better? I thought that was pretty stupid because I thought like, yeah, they obviously did get better. Bringing in guys like Clay, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie, like you said, like they're just able to get a lot more from guys besides Luka and Kyrie, which was obviously the downfall. And in the finals against the Boston Celtics, Luka was going crazy. They couldn't really get anything from anyone else. So this, I feel like, is a way more balanced team, scoring-wise at least, and then defensively with Jason Kidd, like they still are a great defensive team, solid defensive team. I like the Mavericks a lot too. I think, like you said, the OKC Thunder are probably like by far the favorite right now, but Dallas is definitely up there on the short list.
Yeah, that's why I think. When did they play? Or they played tonight? Because we're recording this on Tuesday for anyone who's watching. Like, they played tonight or they played tomorrow. I don't know if you know for sure.
They play tonight. They play tonight.
That's gonna be It's gonna be a good game to watch those two. Yeah. So we can move on here to the next topic. This one's gonna be interesting because I feel like they're obviously those ones we had a little bit difference with the justified jump, but the 3 likely trade targets for the coming up in the season. Recording this on December 10th. I think December 15th is the actual day that the new signees can get traded. So it's going to happen later this week, at the earliest, of course, until the trade deadline. 3 players throughout the whole league, all 30 teams, that are likely trade targets that people are going to be looking at. I guess, like, who would you say are your 3?
So I had an original list of 3, but this morning when I was at the gym, I saw Shams reported someone else was getting looked at for trade. So I added him onto the list. That person, of course, is Jimmy Butler. He said that the Heat are now listening to offers on him, or just, I don't know, at least leaving it open where it's like, yeah, if you want him, Jimmy Butler might be available. And I know he listed a few teams like the Rockets, the Warriors, and there was one more team I have it written down, and the Mavericks.
Mavs, yeah.
The Mavericks were the other one. And I feel like Jimmy Butler would be really cool on either 3 of those teams. I don't know how likely it would be But it would be dope to see Jimmy Butler back on like a super high power contending team because right now the Heat don't really look that good.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think, and the other thing is too, like his like, and why people need to probably pay a little bit more attention to that is that he didn't like get extended last year, so like he's going to be coming into an off season where it's like the Heat are going to be in a real pickle regardless. So that's why I feel like, especially if this team, if they're like in the play in for the third year in a row, I know one of those years they made it to the finals, but like last year, first round exit, and if this year like they're another first round exit, like it's like at that point it's almost like, I think it's like the ship has sailed for the Heat, and I think a lot like most of us probably acknowledge like the Heat maybe could win a playoff series if they get the right matchup and stuff like that. But like, I don't think they're gonna go any further than like the second round, even if they got like really lucky with their matchup. So I think that's a good one right there. My first one actually, I probably would say I don't really have like a, I guess like all-star level player on here. It's mostly like three role players, but I think they're three guys that could be exceptional role players. But I'll list the first one, and then we can go back and forth. I actually went with Robert Williams for the Trailblazers. I think people are definitely going to be looking at him, especially if they need a big man. I've been saying for a while, I feel like if somehow, some way, the Clippers got Rob Williams to back up Zubac, that they'd be set. I think, you know what I mean. But I do think he's going to have like a high market, especially because like he was playing a little bit recently. Last year he didn't really like touch the court at all, and then like this year he's been playing a little bit more. Although I know he missed like a few games recently, but I think at least come like February trade deadline, a team might take a chance on him and just try to get like what they can out of him. You know what I mean? Like while his value is like probably lower than it's going to be again if he actually strings together like a healthy run.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of just hit on it right at that last point. The biggest issue with him for his whole career has been the health.
Yeah.
And if he was healthy, he probably would still be on the Celtics right now. When he's on the court, he gives so much to contending and winning teams. I do like that fit in with the Clippers because in a pick and roll with James Harden, that would be really hard to guard. Just throw it up to the rim and he's going to catch it and put it down. Defensively, he's super versatile too, and he's on a pretty small contract if I remember correctly. So it would be cool to see him get moved out of that super crowded center position over in Portland. Hopefully, he can be healthy though, so he can actually play and contribute on the team that whoever trades for him. My next one I did try to get an all-star level player on this list just because I felt like there really wasn't any like too crazy names before the Jimmy Butler got announced, obviously. This one could hit home a little bit for you, but that is Zach LaVine. He's having a very solid season in Chicago, and I think that besides like his super massive contract, he can do a lot for a team that needs another ball handler, another scorer, off ball or on ball. I think he could do a lot for a team like the Lakers, for example. I know they've been tied to any big name, really. And I don't know if they would even be able to get the contracts to work out in a trade. But I would really, really enjoy seeing Zach LaVine on a winning team.
Yeah, it's it's funny because I also had Zach LaVine on here. I guess like I did have like technically an all-star, but I was just saying like not a like all-star in like
Not
the
a
last
current
2 years.
all-star,
Yes.
yeah.
But since you did mention Zach LaVine, I guess just on that, I do think he probably will get traded at the deadline this year because we're going in a direction that's like seems like we're starting to progress in the correct way, which is rebuild, restart, and before the season he literally had like no trade value, which I mean, it's crazy that like his value was so low. They said you have to attach a first round pick just to get rid of him, and it's like, dude, nobody's gonna do that. I don't even care like if it was just a quality role player. Like, why would you do that for like Zach LaVine? You know what I mean? But I do think that he's upped his value at least a little bit. I think come February there will be a team that's like, maybe we have to like take a chance on it. Like maybe even I could see Houston if they're in the middle and they want to get a little like desperate and it said, you know what, some other team went for Jimmy Butler or Jimmy Butler's not getting traded, like let's go for Zach LaVine. But I'll change it up and I'll say a different Chicago Bull actually for the second one. Not maybe as good as Zach LaVine, but I do think this guy will get traded too. Actually, probably has a better chance to get traded than LaVine just because of how his contract is structured. But I went with Lonzo Ball. And I think Lonzo will get traded because, like, which sounds crazy because he's missed so much time. And it's like, oh, you're just going to do him dirty like that and trade him, you know? But I think because this is his last guaranteed year on his contract, and I think come trade deadline, he will be very much like the 2019 Marc Gasol Grizzlies to Raptors type of move. You know what I mean? Like, he could be the move that I think by the end of this year, we're talking about Lonzo Ball playing for like one of the best teams in the NBA or one of the contending teams in the NBA. I think that they're going to just like take that chance on him. He's going to help transform them a little bit. I think maybe like the Bucks like could be a good team for that. You know what I mean? Because they could use another like facilitator or something off the bench. Because I know DeLon Wright's their backup and like he's been okay, but I feel like he hasn't maybe been the facilitator this season they've been looking for. You get Lonzo Ball in that mix, like I feel like that would help them out tremendously. And the other thing is too, like I think he's just a rental, so even if they do well, even like I feel like he'll probably find himself on a different team next year, like regardless. And if the Bulls keep him, like he's going to leave, so it's like you kind of might as well trade him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel like as long as Lonzo can stay healthy, yeah, he'll be able to get contracts in the NBA for sure. Just to throw another team out there, I know you said the Bucks. I feel like Orlando, that would be kind of cool.
Yep.
Also, having them get more of a traditional point guard to kind of run the show and set up the offense. I know Lonzo is not the same defender he was, pre-injury, but being in that defensive culture, he could definitely fit in there. To move on to another name, I have. Honestly, the entirety of the Brooklyn Nets roster, but to hone it down a little bit, Cam Johnson, I feel like he's on a pretty solid contract. He's having a close to career year, especially shooting the three ball. And we've seen that he's able to play that like 3-and-D typical role on a contending team. When he was with the Suns, he was on that roster. And I think that some team out there definitely needs to capitalize on him being on such a bad team. They could just swoop in, scoop him up. He could start for a team depending on what they need. He can come off their bench. I think he could provide a lot for one of those top teams.
Yeah, I guess great minds think alike because I did have Cam Johnson too. But I think I know he's been rumored to the Cavs a little bit. I think that if they got him at like that 3 spot, that would be huge. I guess for my third one, I'll go with I'll honestly go with Bruce Brown, and I say that because I feel like he's over there like in Toronto wearing that cowboy outfit like literally every day. I mean, I'm not gonna like question his injury, but I feel like he just doesn't want to be there in Toronto. Like that's like the vibe I get. He's kind of just like he's having fun right now. Like I guess collecting a check. But like I feel like he probably wants to be somewhere where he can compete again. I honestly think he wants to be on the Nuggets. It's just that he wanted to take more money that offseason. And I feel like the Nuggets might want him back too. So that might be a good fit. They might have to. But the thing is, like, I was just checking too, like, the Nuggets really don't have many assets to make that deal again. Like, they got, like, one tradable pick, and then they got Michael Porter Jr. I mean, I guess they could technically trade Jamal Murray, but, like, dude, you're not going to give up, like, all these guys. You're not going to give up even Michael Porter Jr. to get Bruce Brown. Then you're just going to be set back again. So it's like, I don't really know how they can find their way to get him, but I think some team might actually take a chance on him because they're like, yeah, his motivation might not be there. Like, it seems very similar, like, I don't know if you remember, like, when Gary Payton II was in Portland for that brief time, and, like, he was out with the injury, but he also said he's like, yeah, I did not want to be there. Now he's back on the Warriors, and he's playing again. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault Bruce for taking that big contract after the Nuggets won. I know it was like $20 million a year or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to you, Bruce. Get your bag. But he did, if you follow the timeline, he signed that in Indiana and then got traded to Toronto. So it could definitely make sense where he's like, I signed this contract for money, but I wasn't trying to live in Toronto. So,
Yeah.
I could see another team maybe just trying to shake something up and bring him over because Bruce Brown has been one of my favorite role players in the NBA, and it is a shame that he hasn't played like the past 2.5 or 1.5 seasons. It feels like. So to see him competing again, that would be nice.
Yeah, the dark side of the NBA. It's like because he went to the Pacers, I'm sure he thought they were going to be playing well, and then he gets shipped to the Raptors, who have not been playing so hot. But we can move on though to the next topics to round out the show. So this one that I got is called the Honor of the Week. I basically give a former NBA player, and I'll just give you like 1 minute. You can talk about them in a good way and a bad way, however you want to. And it's gonna be a player that you definitely know. Um, so again, you'll have like 1 minute. You can talk however you want. And yeah, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty. So your player is Dion Waiters. You can go ahead.
Dion Waiters. Shout out Dion Waiters. It's funny because me and my roommate, we quote him a lot on his quote saying, I'd rather go 0 for 32 than 0 for 9 or whatever it is. That's always a funny quote. And then also, one of the first things that come to mind when I think of Dion Waiters is when JaVale McGee, I don't know if you remember, when he was on the Lakers and he did those bubble vlogs where he would just show kind of like just the life of living in the bubble and stuff. After the Lakers won the championship, he had the vlog on the bus, and he was like recording everyone, being like, "Oh, yo, what's up, what's up?" And then he goes over to Dion Waiters walking over, and if you look on Dion Waiters' face, I know they pop champagne and do all that stuff. He looks gone. He looks like he is not even in his body right there. And he looks at the camera and he goes, "They call me a bunch of stuff, man. All you gotta call me now is Champ Cheese." And then walks away. And that video has me crying every time I think about it. Shout out Dion Waiters, man. Shout out Dion Waiters.
Yep. And that was the time right there. Champ cheese is
Champ
crazy.
cheese.
Yeah, I believe it or not, I've never seen that, so I'm gonna have to look that up and see if I can find that after the show
Yes.
here.
Anyone that has not seen that, make sure you go to JaVale McGee's YouTube channel, look up the vlog after they won the championship. And because I think J.R. Smith's in the video too, and his eyes are done too. So it's really funny. Really
Yeah,
funny.
definitely doesn't surprise me. They were both on a different planet at that time, but yeah, it's funny like you mentioned. Like I feel like that quote's pretty iconic. I mean, Dion Waiters definitely had some big moments. I think that season with the Heat really caught people off guard. Like when Wade first left, and it's like he really was like their best player on a 500 team. Like I don't think people thought that would ever happen. So I mean, shout out to him for that. I mean, shout out to him for I guess the career he had. He is a champion, as you said. And one of the funniest things, and it's funny because I was just looking back at this the other day, but like I don't know if you ever played like NBA 2K15, and like they had like like the players like voice lines like in the
Oh,
micro mode,
yes.
and bro, Dion Waiters like that was just like the funniest thing.
They gave him like one take. That's it. He read off a sheet and that was it. It was really bad. Yeah, good thing he was a hooper and not a voice actor. Because damn.
It's so funny because like for my player on my thing, like there when I had my micro mode, I think I was on the Suns and my guy was Marcus Morris, and then it's funny because about 8 years later, I actually met Marcus Morris in person. And like he dabbed me up, like he like gave me like the same type of handshake that he gives like on the game, and then yeah, it was just funny. Like I asked him for a photo, he's like, "Not right now, my man." And then like it literally felt like I was in my career cutscene from 2K15. So those are
Shout out
iconic,
Knicks
and I
legend Marcus Morris.
yeah, he is a legend
Yeah.
there. But I feel like that game's hilarious because of that, and I feel like Dion Waiters is just one of the most hilarious from that too,
He's a very memeable player. I will say that for sure.
for sure. But yeah, if you want, we can progress here to the mini game to close out the show. So the mini game we got here is called the Rose Gold Trivia mini game. So why it is called the Rose Gold Trivia mini game? So as you know, my favorite NBA player, Derrick Rose, former Bull, former Nick, and so I basically themed the mini game this season after him. There's going to be 5 questions. Now it's not like totally difficult trivia, I would say. The first and the fifth question are going to be all or nothing. So it's like you get one guess, there's only one correct answer. If you get it right, you get 10 points. If you get it wrong, you get 0 points. Questions 2 through 4 are going to be number based a little bit. So let's say the answer is like whatever it is, it's like 17, and you guessed 14. So you're 3 away from it. You'll get 3 less points. So rather than getting 10 points, you'd get 7 points. If you're more than that amount away, you just won't get any points for that one. So the max score you can get is 50. Like I said, the first question should be pretty easy. The last question should be kind of hard. So we'll see how you can go. 50 total points, like I said. And yeah, are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right, so the first one I feel like should be pretty simple. I did try to make the first questions pretty easy, and I feel like with you being a Knicks fan, you should probably know this. So we'll see. So the first one is when Derrick Rose was traded from the Bulls to the Knicks, the summer that he got traded from the Bulls to the Knicks. What free agent also made the move from the Chicago Bulls to the New York Knicks with him that summer?
That was Joakim Noah, right?
That is correct. It is Joakim Noah.
That super long contract. That was a rough one.
Yeah, I mean, he was there. He was with you guys for what, 3 years? Because it was a 4-year deal, but 3 years at least.
Yeah, but then we stretched it, and we were paying him like years after he was out the league. Like I think it was only like maybe 2 or 3 years ago that we stopped paying him. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I think it was.
Shout out Joakim though.
It was like a 4-year, $72 million. I mean, he definitely wasn't. It just sucks like the injuries and stuff like that. I feel like you guys could have even been really good that year if healthy and stuff like that.
I forget who said the quote, but there was someone on the Knicks that were like, "Yeah, it's the Warriors and it's us, right?" Like,
I think that was D Rose that said that.
Was it him?
Yeah, he said like we're like the super teams in the league or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, not his finest moment, but it's okay. So you did get 10 points though on that one. Now the second question we got here. So however many placements you are away from it, you'll get 1 less point. Now it could also be a single digit placement, like we'll have to see, but just letting you know that. So the second question is, during his MVP season, where did Derrick Rose rank in total turnovers in the league?
Total turnovers. All right. He was
very
high usage
guy. So.
Yeah, very high usage guy. I do know though Tom Thibodeau hates turnovers. So I'm assuming I don't think it was anything too crazy. You said total, right? Total. That's tough. All right, I'm gonna say he averaged maybe like 3.5 turnovers per game ish. And then he played I don't know how many games he played his MVP season, at least 70. So I'm gonna say like 225.
Oh, so like I guess I should rephrase the question. So like basically, where did he like rank in turnovers?
Where did he rank? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Total turnovers, he was 7th.
You're going 7th?
Yeah.
Okay. That is not a bad guess, although it is not 7. He was 4th. So
was I close on the number though? What was his total turnovers?
What was your guess again for that?
I think I said 225.
225. Let me look that up real quick because I did not have that on here. So you said 225. He had 278.
I lowballed him.
Actually, the season before that, you would have been a little bit closer. You had 217 the season before that. So
that would have been nice.
But you still got 7 points because you're 3 placements away. Yeah, he was 4th that year. He 3rd, I believe, was Dwight Howard. 2nd was LeBron, and 1st was Westbrook. So, there we go. So now the third question we got here. This one's going to be a little bit tricky. It's, again, a number-based one, so however far you are away, each number away will be 1 less point. So, throughout his 8 years he played with the Chicago Bulls, how many teammates did Derrick Rose have on the team who were younger than him?
Oh, younger than him. Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right. Let me think.
And we're just looking for a number here. You don't have to name them all, but
you said 8 seasons.
He played 8 seasons.
8 seasons with Chicago.
I guess technically he played 7 seasons, but I am counting the season he missed. Like any teammates he had on that year that was younger than him too.
I'm gonna say I don't know, because they still draft like young rookies. So I'm gonna say he had like 11,
So you're going with 11?
11 teammates that were younger than him.
Okay. So he's locking in 11. And while it is not 11, that's not a bad guess. It was 14. So
Okay.
still got 7 points there as well. And I do have the teammates here. Some of them are literally some crazy pull names. Uh, Malcolm Thomas, Jimmy Butler, of course. You got Marcus Teague, Jimmer Fredette, Eric Murphy, Tornique Shangilia, Tony Snell, Etwan Moore, Cameron Barstow, Nikola Mirotic, Doug McDermott, Justin Holiday, Cristiano Felicio, and Bobby Portis.
Man, shout out Tony Snell, man. That's the name I'm gonna pull out of that one. Shout out Tony Snell.
Tony Snell, the legend, the what is it, the quintuple zero game?
Yeah, no stats, just cardio.
No stats. But I mean, I guess it's crazy how that goes because last year I would assume who had one of those, and now he just had like his first like 27-point triple double like last week or
Yeah.
something. So, weird place in the NBA. So, you got 7 points there. Right now, you got 24 points. You're sitting pretty good. Now, the fourth question is what, and this is again like one, however many years away you are, you'll get that many points. What year did Derrick Rose lead the league in playoff 3-point percentage?
Okay.
Because he did do that once, which is crazy to think about, but
See, oh. I think this is a trick question. I think this is a trick question. Was it not the year that he was with the Knicks against Atlanta?
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm thinking too hard on that one. I might be thinking too hard on that one. Because I was thinking at first it was going to be one of his years with the Bulls. But I feel like I remember he was just a snipe. You know what? I'm just going to guess it. I don't care. That was 2021, I'm going to guess, when he was with the Knicks against the Hawks.
So you're going with 2021 then?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not 2021, but you're really in love with these 7-point answers because you were 3 off again. It was 2017, 2018. So that was actually the year that he was started with the Cavs, then he went to the Timberwolves later that year. So before the season before he had the 50-point game and they played Houston in the playoffs, I think he made I forget how many exactly it was, but he shot like 2 a game, and he shot 70% in those games
Ah,
from 3, which is crazy. But there were a few people that technically like shot better, but they didn't qualify. I think Siakam was one of them that year. Who else was it? I was checking a few 100%, but like he was the highest of everyone who actually qualified. So
yeah.
um,
I forget what he shot in the series against Atlanta, but he was like our best player in that series. So I figured I would throw out the guess.
yeah, I think he did shoot well in that series too. I think probably over 40% at least.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, so right now you're still sitting pretty good. You got 31 of 40 possible points. If you manage to get this last question, you will have the top spot on the leaderboard. Right now you're on the higher end of the leaderboard though still. So now we'll see if you can get this. This is supposed to be an impossible level 1. There's only one correct answer. So are you ready?
Yes, sir. Let's get it.
All right, so you only have one guess at it. It's all or nothing. So the last question is during his MVP season, what team did Derrick Rose record his triple double against?
Oh my God, this is gonna be a shot in the dark. All right, let me see if I can pull something out of here.
1 out of 29 chance.
I 100. Well, yeah, 1 out of 29. I 100%.
No, it was against the Bulls. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know this off the top of my head. I'm gonna say it's not against the Knicks because I definitely would have heard about that. Um, Part of me wants to say like Cleveland, but I don't know. Throwing out there, let me say the Suns, just because I'm thinking about when he dunked on Goran Dragic.
So you're going with the Suns.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Solid guess. It is not the Suns though. Correct answer was the Grizzlies.
Yeah, would have never got there. So
You were thinking of some teams though that he did play for you because you said, we'll look at the Knicks, and then you said maybe the Cavs, but it was the Grizzlies.
damn, I'm
So
still happy with my performance though.
that
It's solid.
that is pretty good. I think 31 points. I would have to double check. I think you are third on the leaderboard right now of 8 competitors.
Nice.
So it's not bad. How do you feel?
That's not bad. I feel like every time I come on here, I never win, but I show a little bit of being knowledgeable. So hopefully, eventually I'll be able to win one of these.
Hey man, probably. I think that you're due though. I mean, like, what was it? The first tournament, second round, next tournament, you got a round further. So we'll just have to see how it ends up going for you. But 31, like I said, is pretty good. I think the only 2 people above you are your guy, Steph Trill Buckets. He's the top spot right now, and then my guy Romp 2.0 is second. So,
Nice.
but
I'm up there with some good names.
I think you're right above your buddy NBA Addict TV. I think he's right below you. So you're the top of the Knicks spots right now.
Nice, nice.
But yeah, overall, thought it was a good show. I'm glad we could collab on this one, and hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You got anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
If you guys made it this far, obviously, you like me a little bit, maybe. So check out my channel. I put out NBA videos throughout the whole season, off season, all that. It's youtube.com/Jacoblocks. Thank you for having me on, man. It's always fun when we get to come on here and talk some hoops.
Yes, sir. And I'll have his stuff linked down below. Be sure to check it out. And yeah, again, appreciate you being on. And hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. And we're out. Peace.